The Building Brands podcast is dedicated to exploring the journeys of industry leaders who have successfully built a brand. Join me, Robert Royer, president of Building Brands Marketing, and an entrepreneur who has successfully scaled multiple brands as we dive deep into the strategies, challenges, and insights that have shaped the success of industry leaders and provide you with the resources you need to do the same. Building Brands Marketing is a full-service marketing agency specializing in crafting customized marketing strategies for service-based businesses with a creative powerhouse to drive real results. Welcome to the Building Brands Podcast. Welcome to the Legal Leaders series of the Building Brands Podcast. Today, I'm excited to host South Texas Family Law. We have Laura Hurd, owner and managing attorney, as well as Julie Boren, associate attorney. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. I want to start off with a question for Laura. Laura, I know you've been doing this a long time. You have a well-established firm in the San Antonio and greater South Texas area. You've built this brand over decades, and you've done a little bit of everything over that time frame, as many law firms have. What's the first marketing move in that time frame that actually started moving the needle and creating significant market opportunity for the firm?
Well, I grew up in San Antonio. My practice has always been here. So a lot of it was just built up gradually over time. People began to see my name here and there and realize I'd been around for a long time. And a lot of times they didn't even know where they'd seen my name before. But I think one thing that first moved the needle was when I got a website, because I was one of the first lawyers to do that. I've always been kind of on the cutting edge of the technology that communicates with people. And I got the website and it was doing really great for a while. And then more and more people started getting websites and I got more competition. And so then, other things came along that kept it moving forward.
That's very cool. When was that, when you got the website?
I believe it was in the 90s. It was really in the beginning. There weren't many lawyers that did have a website. They didn't trust it, I guess. The Yellow Pages was where everybody went back then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I started out in the marketing industry, I started out in the newspaper industry, and we used to grab the phone books, and we knew, hey, if they had a half page or larger in the phone book, they had enough budget to spend in the paper. Those days are gone. You got a website in the dial-up days. It used to load in sections, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And then, from there, I had a Facebook page, just a personal one. I didn't think of it as a marketing thing, but then I started getting contacted from people overseas who were in the military that needed a divorce attorney in San Antonio. And they got my name off of Facebook, and that surprised me. And I'm like, well, maybe I should have a business Facebook page. And then a little later on, someone suggested to me TikTok, and that one was the biggest shock because, for one thing, I thought TikTok was for teenagers who like to dance. That definitely wasn't me. But somebody said, "Oh no, just talk to people like you would at a consultation. What you would normally tell people when they come in and want to know what." Your firm is all about. So it became an educational thing, and it wasn't very polished, but apparently people like the authenticity of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different platform. People prefer that. The algorithms prefer it. It's interesting about what you say about the military niche, because of course San Antonio has a very big military presence. There's multiple bases in the area, or at least one big one that I'm aware of.
There's multiple.
Multiple? Okay, that's what I thought. Has that been a big niche or a big audience of yours over the years?
Yes, it has, because we have the Air Force, the Army, we have a lot of the big bases here. And so a lot of times the spouses are concerned about getting their share of the military retirement. And a lot of times the military members are concerned about how they're going to have visitation with their children when they get deployed. And so those are questions that are kind of unique to the military that because we've been representing a lot of people in that way, they keep coming back.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, this question's for Julie. On that note, I know Julie, you're involved a lot in the intake of certain prospects and prospective clients as they come through. So I assume you interface with a lot of these military related families. Is there a different you know intake process or communication style when you're dealing with those types of prospects compared to maybe the more traditional recent divorce? They're just looking to get everything finalized, get behind them, move on, split the assets, figure out the child custody, more traditional case.
There is, for when I mean, because we do intake either via telephone, we'll do Zoom now, in person. So I'm usually aware, based on when I either way I do a telephone or phone or in person, based on a phone number even, and the timing, I'll say, what location are you and where are you at, and so that kind of gets me to know which needle I'm going to go, which direction, to which questions I'll ask from the beginning that you might not ask a typical, Texas divorce client. So yeah, absolutely, it is a little bit slightly different. I mean, they've moved around a lot. They've been through a lot, and their kids. I always have to figure out, where are the kids and how are they in what school, and where are they, and what's their daily life like. So absolutely.
Yeah, I know that you have a history of having a good, consultation to hire rate and being able to convert those prospects into clients for the firm. What's the one thing you do in that initial conversation that most attorneys skip?
I think
What do you do differently?
I think what I do is I've been through it myself. I've been divorced. My ex-husband was a lawyer. I've got 3 kids. So I can tell them, hey, professionally, yes, I'm good at my job. I know what I'm doing. I've done it 19 years, but personally, I absolutely get it too. I know the emotions. I know, how how frustrating it can be. And you feel like you're all alone, or, you're overwhelmed. I think that's one maybe little aspect I have that maybe other lawyers, not saying they don't have, but they maybe don't share. I'm pretty open and transparent. I mean, we all have our story. We all have something in life, and so I don't mind sharing my personal story, to a degree with potential clients or clients, and just saying, hey, I get it, and I'm here, on not just a professional level, but I get it personally. And I remember in law school they told us we're not supposed to take our cases on personally, but I've not learned how to do that in 19 years. I'm not good at that. I hadn't figured that part out.
Yeah.
I care.
Well, I think that in family law, there's a lot of emotion involved. Sometimes that first initial phone call, they just want to feel heard. They want to feel some sympathy or some empathy. And so that kind of helps create that emotional connection. I do think that more so from someone that's had a family law representative to someone that's had a business law representative, I've seen all sides of it. And I do feel more emotionally connected to the family law attorney that I've hired, because of some of the things that you share with him or her in that experience. And, frankly, that it's just all around a more emotional, experience from a client perspective. So that makes
And
a lot of sense.
that's one thing we really try to emphasize is that we listen, we care. We're not the person out there banging a hammer saying, we're going to fight and we're going to win and we're going to get you lots of money. It's more, we know that you want freedom, you want peace, you want somebody to really listen to what matters to you. And one thing that comes through in the reviews, a lot of reviews about Julie is that, she took on something that other people wouldn't take, and she really fought for them in the sense of, she cared about their final outcome and how the kids would be at the end of this whole process.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. And that shines through. And I can see that in the online reviews, the brand sentiment, there's some stories there. I kind of want to backtrack for a second. So Julie tracks how every client found the firm, and Laura, you get that data or that feedback loop from Julie. So how does that intel change how you allocate your marketing spend or time over time as you get that feedback loop?
It's definitely something that influences where we spend our money, and a lot of it is it's the things that cost less that give us a better return. It's the putting TikTok videos out is free, putting uh, local services ads, and then we come up organically a lot because of our reviews. And so those are the things that seem to bring us a better return than anything else.
Have you started to dabble into AEO or GEO at all, putting an emphasis on being found in AI engines like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity?
That happened organically as well. It was kind of surprising that, we started getting calls from people saying, oh, ChatGPT recommended you. And we're like, really? What do they know about us? And you go look and, look us up in ChatGPT, and it has pulled stuff from the internet that we didn't even know was out there and recommended us. So that was exciting.
Well, that's the interesting thing, Laura. A lot of people don't realize, when AI came about 4 years ago, at least in this form and fashion, um, I've been in the SEO industry for over a decade, and everybody was screaming, SEO is dead. It's not going to be relevant anymore. Things like your Google local service ads, that you mentioned. Well, the reality is that it just kind of transformed and shifted a little bit, but a lot of the same work and the same fundamentals that we were doing for SEO translates to AEO. So when you look at what influences AI search engines like ChatGPT or Claude, it's really a couple different things. The first thing is still the on-site content, because those engines essentially scrub the internet to find the answers to the user queries that are being asked. So things like blogs on your website, FAQs, things of that nature. But then it's also brand sentiment, your reviews, the same things that influence your local search with Google Maps search, your Avo profile, things of that nature are some of the most critical influencers or local signals feeding AI agents. And then outside of that, it's offsite authorities. So things like what used to be backlinks now might be more like social bookmarking platforms like Quora or Reddit, and what people are saying about the firm on Reddit. Those are the influencing factors that influence AEO. And so a lot of times it may not have been an intentional effort through an LLM related strategy trying to get visibility on ChatGPT that provided some referrals because of some of the same fundamentals that you've done for your SEO strategy to try to get Google presence. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yeah, we didn't have a particular strategy other than we are very proud of our reviews on Google and the things that are showing up on Better Business Bureau and the rewards awards that we've had, things like.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is the one thing that you feel like is not working as well today in terms of marketing that was working for you in the past? And let's not go all the way back to Yellow Pages like 10 years ago. Let's talk about like the last maybe 5 years.
Well, I think it's a matter of people see us everywhere. That's what I hear. People say, we see your name pop up in a lot of different places. So I can't really say what's not working. It's all combined together.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because what we call that is full funnel attribution. A lot of times we'll look at individual tactics and we'll think, oh, well, let's say that family law, this isn't really applicable, but many industries will send out mailers, and they'll look at that mailer acquisition rate line by line alongside, say, their TikTok advertising cost per lead. When the reality is someone's much more likely to respond to a mailer. It's more of a bottom of funnel attribution mechanism. So it's important to always look at that full funnel attribution. And we always encourage firms to look at it in what we call a blended cost per lead. If you have your overall marketing budget and you look at how many leads per month, that's the North Star metric of how your full funnel is working all together.
Right. Yeah. If you look at where our leads come from, it'll say the majority come from our website. But how did they get to our website? That's the thing. They probably went two or three other places, saw us on TikTok or on Facebook, and then they came to the website.
That's exactly right. And at that point, it probably was the fifth, sixth, seventh brand touch point. It wasn't the first time they were exposed to the South Texas Law brand. Uh, so it all works in layers, right? I want to get back to the fundamentals of what I know is the most critical marketing mechanism for regional law firms like yourself, though, and those are referrals. Referrals can make or break you, especially at the beginning stages of launching a firm. So I know, Julie, that's been a big mechanism of your career. And I know in talking with you leading up to the show, you talked about how you practiced in East Texas for quite a while, and you still to this day have people from 6 hours away calling you asking help and questions because of that referral pipeline that you've built over time. How, first of all, my first question related to referrals is, how do you keep those referral relationships warm for so many years when some of those contacts might be from 5, 10, 15 years ago that you created?
Well, in East Texas, that was never my plan. I mean, I've been in South Texas, oh gosh, for years. And then, after my divorce, I went back home, never really intended to even open a practice. I did. I learned a lot. It's not easy to run a practice. You don't get to practice. You get to run your business. And so that's why I'm very, very happy here with South Texas Family Law and Laura and Hector and Marina, our other attorneys. We work as a team, and it's great to be able to go next door or across the hall and just say, hey, what do y'all think about this case? And I'm missing something, or give me some, a different, aspect on this. And so I absolutely love that. Me being from a small town, East Texas town, we just didn't have that many attorneys.
Yeah.
My family was there. It just kind of grew way faster than I even anticipated. I mean, even a week ago, I had a client call from 3 years ago saying, hey, do you remember? You probably don't remember me. And he starts giving me details. I'm like, wait, no, I do. And he said, I didn't hire you, but could you help me now? And I can't because I'm so far away, but I can say, hey, I can refer you to other attorneys that I would recommend or I suggest. And that's kind of trickled into here back in San Antonio too, because statewide, I mean, we all try and keep in connection with other colleagues that we respect and trust. And so I think that's helped, bring some referrals and clients here to South Texas. Plus, I think just me being back. I mean, I worked for the Attorney General my very first job. I handled, I don't know, hundreds of cases and covered 30 counties. So,
Yeah.
you touched a million cases, it feels like. And I think as long as you practice well and you're ethical and you're, honest, then people will remember that. And Laura, like I said, Laura's had a great reputation. I mean, I can't, when I say her name in any courtroom, people know who she is. And so I don't know. I think it's just staying connected with your colleagues a lot as well, too.
Yeah, relationships, finding that right synergy of colleagues and community partners that can share that same level of energy and passion. Laura, you've been doing this a long time. You've obviously been incredibly successful. You have a well-established firm. I'm curious, if you were to give one piece of advice to a younger attorney who's just starting out, going out on their own and establishing their own firm, what would that be?
Find a really good paralegal. It just exponentially helps with keeping up with things and taking care of people when you've got a good paralegal that supports you.
That's a great point. I love that because I always talk about this is one of my favorite things to say when I speak to groups of people is I would be naive to believe that my success is dependent solely on myself. The reality is my success is more dependent on the people around me and the team that's part of the infrastructure that I'm included with, and not me. And I think so often we have to remind ourselves about that, especially in service-based businesses such as law. So that's a really great point.
Yeah, we've really emphasized the team approach in our firm, and even the probate attorney will brainstorm with the family law attorney and the paralegal and the receptionist. We all have something to contribute, and it's important that we don't try to be a lone wolf.
Absolutely. This has been a pleasure and a privilege. I've enjoyed this. Well, before we conclude, Julie, do you want to tell our listeners and viewers where they could find out more about South Texas law online?
Well, uh, Laura has great videos on YouTube even. She's got some on TikTok. I'm not a big TikToker. I need to do better because I've got 3 teenagers that know way more about it than I do. And
And
but
Laura.
yeah, and Laura, right? And I laugh because I'm just not comfortable doing that part of it. But
I'm not either.
well, she looks like she is. She looks natural. But yeah, I think the Google reviews. I Google a lot too. If I'm going to go eat somewhere, even these days, or I'm going to buy products, I mean, I Google it. So it's a huge thing. I think Google, I'll be honest, I think that Laura didn't say this, I will. I think it's been a struggle with Google because they're taking control, and you can't really monitor sometimes when you get a review and then they don't provide it or post it. We have no control over that, so that's frustrating. But yeah, like we anyway, her website's great. We're out there all over the place. So and we're getting. I mean, I've had a call today. I did a consult on Nueces County, B County. I mean, they're finding us, through multiple avenues. So, if you want to find us, you can. We're out there. We're available.
Yeah, South Texas family law. Just Google it, right? Or just ChatGPT it. Yeah, that's it. That's right. Well, this has been a pleasure and a privilege again. I really appreciate you, Laura. Thank you, Julie, for being on the show, and look forward to continuing the conversation and talking again soon.
Thank
It's our
you.
pleasure. Thank you.